We'll come back to that as well. Each teacher will receive a $50 gift card, and they also awarded Dunbar $3,750. So please send our gratitude to our Phoenix Foundation. How fantastic, and the support that we get. The next one, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Gonzalez.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board. We are excited to be welcoming about 90 new teachers and 139 teachers who joined late last year to our new teacher orientation. And actually, when this was written, those were our numbers. Our numbers have actually increased since that was written because we've continued to hire and onboard new teachers. It was a packed house, and we appreciate those of you who were able to join us for our PECTA breakfast on Friday. But it was a very exciting group of teachers. The energy is fabulous. Our curriculum team designed a week of building relationships, learning curriculum, and district resources, along with time for our teachers to set up their classrooms before their Meet the Teacher night on August 31st. Our teachers last year overwhelmingly cited the best thing about working in Phoenix #1 was our students and their colleagues and the feeling that they are making a difference. We're confident that these new members of Phoenix #1 will experience the same in 2023-2024.
Thank you. And I just want to, for the public, Meet the Teacher night is July 31st.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. It's really nice to hear the numbers and stuff that go with that. And I'm excited for the new year coming up. And it was a pleasure to meet a few of those new teachers last week. So I'm looking forward to next week. But with that, we'll move on to the superintendent's report. The floor is yours.
Thank you again. We have a slide deck. I'm hopeful that our technology team will share it with us, and you will first see what our new teachers are going to receive. And this is from Lakeshore, and you will see towards the right hand corner, there's their bag and then their gift certificate, their card, and the opportunity to really get a start for them through the Lakeshore shopping. And again, Phoenix One Foundation, thank you again for that. And then you'll see pictures next of our new teacher orientation. And please know that I'm framing something there. I'm not attacking it. And that is specific to our Kids at Hope framework. It was just such an amazing opportunity to interact with our new teachers, and for me to be able to provide the professional development just really takes me to a space that it's very near and dear, and they were just really engaged and excited to be a part of our culture of hope. And our next slide, we would not be able to do any of this without the support of our team. And so when you look at this, there's special thanks. These individuals all played a critical role throughout the teacher welcoming, creating one of the smoothest onboarding experiences for over 120 teachers. Teachers had their technology, access to the resources, and received warm welcomes from the first 5 days of their career in our district, thanks to the hours and time that have been spent to make sure that everyone felt welcome. So join me in giving our team a nice round of applause. And then our next slide, we received this, and I'm going to have Dr. Gonzalez share with us about our HERD students.
Yes, we are very excited about some of the work that's happening at HERD. This June, I'm going to get my months right. June 28th, we got word that the students from HERD's Make Health Happen, they were awarded a national award of leadership in health. And so these are some of the things that the students had worked on. They had developed they worked in partnership with Ben's Bells during the Martin Luther King holiday, Day of Service, to make sure that they were spreading kindness. They also did a teacher appreciation week and did outreach to their fellow students, giving them fresh fruits and vegetables as healthy snack alternatives. And some of you may remember our students from this leadership group actually wrote letters to the board last year, asking for better food choices and talking about the importance of healthy food choices. And so we're really excited that out of 80 student teams in New York City, these students with their presentation were one of the student leadership groups awarded. So that's a great celebration. In addition, Hurd just got a $5,000 award from the Diamondbacks STEM celebration. And so this Sunday, if you happen to be at the game, it's all kids are free to the games this weekend. They're playing the Seattle Mariners, but Hurd is going to be recognized as one of the STEM leadership schools. So we're really excited about that. Mr. Mike and Ms. Magana are going to be accepting the award. And so that will be a future gift and donation that we will be celebrating.
Yay. Yes, I'm going to the next.
Next, we are celebrating one of our principals, and this is Mr. Aviles, participated in the All in Education Adelante Pitch Day cohort on May 13th. And Adelante Fellows shared their research and proposed solutions to 3 critical issues impacting education, which are chronic absenteeism, parent engagement, and English language learners. These pitches don't only serve as a learning opportunity for the fellow in our community, they also serve as the catalyst to begin implementing fresh new ideas to problems that have long plagued our community and students. So congratulations to our now Garfield principal, Mr. Aviles. Gift and donations totaling $13,973.75 were shared with Emerson Elementary. That was Kenneth Snyder, where the greatest need is for $5,000, and that was given on 6/26/23. Also, Tanner Community Development Corporation provided a $400 gift for Bethune Elementary, also for where there's the greatest need. And we have the Phoenix One Foundation also donating books for families in crisis totaling $3,573.75, along with the $5,000 that we had already mentioned for teacher supply. We are very grateful for these gift and donations. They really support our purpose. So thank you to our partners in education. Also, education, oh yeah, let's clap for them too. Also, we have the dental sealant that it's continuing a partnership with us, and that is the Maricopa County Department of Public Health Services. And this is a collaboration which gives access to free dental sealant service for our students. So we really appreciate this partnership because it's at 0 cost. And so our families can really take advantage of that. And as we look into the future, we have our back to school celebration August 1st for all our employees. We're excited to be together again. It's been a year since that's been the case. And on August 2nd, we are here to welcome our students for the first day of school, reminding our community that we are still enrolling and to please go to our website for our online enrollment so that they can be a part of this amazing journey with us at the Phoenix #1 family. So thank you. Those are all of the superintendent reports.
Thank you both very much. With that, we will move on to our board reports. May we please have some board reports from the board tonight?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to share Jessica Bueno. I did want to welcome Dr. Bowman, our HR director / assistant superintendent. We had the opportunity to have a driving tour of our whole district and really show the difference between some of our neighborhoods and our community schools. So thank you for your time and welcome to Phoenix #1. Second, I just wanted to also share that we traveled to New York City to participate in NALEO's annual conference. And in that conference, I was able to learn about some policy, but mostly focusing on ESSER funds. So as we all know, ESSER funds will expire next September. And it's imperative that we continue to learn more about different funding sources and know how to balance budgets. So I wanted to share with my colleagues what I learned in Naleo. And then last Friday, we had the opportunity to welcome our new staff, and it was here in our boardroom, and it was just a great experience. So thank you for admin for organizing it, as well as PECTA for inviting us and really helping the new hires understand, the importance of belonging to a union. So thank you all. I will pass it over to whoever wants to share next.
I just have two things. I was actually able to attend Mr. Avila's presentation for All in Education, and just a second congratulations and thank you to him for all of his hard work. There was a lot of information to glean from their presentations and many things that we here at Phoenix L are already putting into practice. So I'm appreciative of that. And the second thing is I am working with Vice Mayor Ansari and our local Moms Demand Action chapter right now to organize a series for community members at the Burton Bar Library on firearm safety. The first event will be August 17th at 5:30 p.m. And you can keep an eye out for more information on that.
Hi, well, first, I just wanted to say thank you and welcome to all the new teachers and all our new staff members for our district. I know it's going to be an exciting and great year coming forward. And then also piggyback on Vice President Bueno about the NALEO conference. I think what I took back from it, it was definitely it was my first time attending and getting to meet a lot of other individuals from different states and their policies and their challenges on their communities and neighborhoods. And what I took from it a lot is definitely the budget classes. I think that was like the most interesting one to actually see and hear other states that are struggling and some that are not struggling, and which was exciting to hear all of that stuff. But other than that, welcome to the next year.
I'll go. So just to piggyback off of what everyone else added, congratulations to our new HR staff, Mr. Jed Bowman. Thank you for just joining on the tour and learning about our community and get a quick, speedy trial run on everything. And hopefully visit one of those restaurants, local businesses we pointed you towards. And then congratulations to all of our new teachers. Just saying that now because we had an impassioned speech from our vice president about on the mission that we're on for all our staff, right? And thank you to PECTA for just starting us on a good foot. I just walked around, talked to some new teachers, and some initial feedback of really just asking them who they are, their names, and what brought them to Phoenix L. And it was the most salient feedback I got were salary increases, and a couple were from charter to public schools for that reason. So I thought that was wonderful news to us to hear. And there's some pretty significant salary increases, which I was proud to hear from these teachers. So thank you. I look forward to visiting some classrooms, meeting teachers July 31st. I'll be at Lowell, Bethune, Shaw, Dunbar, and Herrera, based on everything I got organized here on, what is that, Monday, July 31st? And so I'll be there, and then smaller class sizes too was the other one. So thank you for everyone for all the work we're doing. I look forward to the upcoming convocation, and meeting all of our staff, and that is all.
We've all been busy. Thank you all very much for sharing. I will echo all the sentiments. I also was able and privileged to attend the NALEO 40th annual conference, where a ton of Latino elected officials gather and we get to network and hear each other's experience about our public service and what that looks like from different roles and experiences. But then also it's nice to hear the shared experiences and being able to inspire, empower, and just have really good discussions. So that was one of my favorite parts about attending our conference. I also liked I call it our school finance workshop, but we got to hear some good things or not so nice things to anticipate with regard to school finance, COVID impacts. We even attended one about affordable housing. So there's lots of things swirling around in my head, and I brought all my resources to scan and send to our wonderful administration. So thank you all for making that possible for the board. I also got to attend the new teacher breakfast. It was, I think it was intentional for us to meet the new teachers. So thank you for putting that on the district and our teachers association. That was a really great experience, and what a great turnout. So that was really nice to participate in. Let's see, it's also Disability Pride Month this July. So I'm happy to say we've updated our agenda to include more wording for accessibility recommendations, being able to provide, maybe more alternative formats, listening devices, whatever we might be able to learn about and make ourselves more accessible to our community. That way people are able to participate or watch our board meetings going forward. So thank you for that as well. Also want to just congratulate Principal Avila about his All in Ed presentation. Hopefully we'll get to hear that. Well, maybe not his whole presentation, but I would love to hear about it and learn from him. So if there aren't any other board reports, we will move on to item C1. This space is created to be able to share with the board a progress update on our student outcomes focused governance model that we are implementing. And at this time on our timeline, we are still in the process of learning and being coached on the district, our team's responsibilities to monitor the progress of the board goals that we recently adopted. We've got some good news that our learning coach is able to visit us here shortly. So one of the items on our agenda tonight is to schedule a work study session for him to be out here and give us some information as a whole, which I'm looking really forward to. This is just been a really great experience, and it's opened up so many just new ideas and ways to collaborate. So I'm really excited about it, but I'll be quiet and see if you've got any questions for me, because I know it's been a while since we've talked about SOFG stuff. So Jessica and I are able to, and as far Dr. Hagigat and Dr. Gonzalez, able to answer any questions you might have as we've been on this journey together with our coaching sessions and stuff. So please feel free, or please add anything I might have skipped.
Yeah, I just did want to put on our radar that our quarterly board evaluation is going to be due soon. So just look forward to it being on the August agenda. And then that information is also in our Google Drive if you are not familiar with what the evaluation tool looks like.
So what is the first study session that I focus on? Just progress made in doing the board evaluation? Or can you expand?
Great question. Excuse me. It's our progress monitoring responsibility. So what that looks like, what our measurables and our interim goals will look like coming from our superintendent and cabinet's office, to make sure that translates into what the board's vision is for what our goals and outcomes need to, what we built them for, what we built our goals for. We want to make sure that those measurables and interim goals and guardrails are on par with being able to show us and demonstrate that we are going to hit the outcomes that we're hoping to, but also be able to show us, if we're not on target, so that way we know when to make adjustments. So that's that part of this process that used to seem very daunting and scary way back when. So I think we're doing a we're doing really great. And he says that we're doing great on time as well too. So our timeline has stretched out a bit, but it's nice to have that grace and flexibility to be able to make sure we're giving this the time and attention to make sure we get our readings in, to make sure we are learning the vocabulary, that we are just really living this model that we adopted. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. My other focus is just if we can get a timeline, or I know we had the work study sessions when we voted on those last time, but figure out what the topics for each study session will be. I'm sure that they'll change, and not expecting them to be written in stone, but if that's what that study session is, then I would like, just so I can mentally prep to, and then I know what we're going into if I have feedback to give. And then because in one of those might, just knowing when we're going to talk about like a priority areas, board procedures, stuff like that.
Another great question. So the work study session came about because we were in the middle of a coaching session, and Dr. Ramos let us know that he was going to be visiting Phoenix and thought it would be good to give us that time to really have the whole board together and answer those questions to be available for you guys. So it wasn't anything we pre-planned or had, we thought was coming. So it worked out really great, and he is excited to work with the other board members, and seeing as it's only been Jessica and I so far. So it worked out nice that way, but I think that's a great idea. So there is a level of predictability, and we know what we got coming up.
Yeah, if we could plan it out at that study session, just kind of like general topics we want to talk about, that would be great.
Perfect.
And then correct me if I'm wrong, we voted on the and then the work study sessions? No, and that was something that was just brought forth to us but not voted on.
No, we voted on approving the board meetings and then the site council. So we have not,
Thank you.
we have not approved any study sessions, and then that's going to be our action item later in the agenda.
And the reasoning behind that, I think, was because it wanted, Dr. Hagika wanted to leave that flexibility open for us to request the necessary work study sessions that we might want. So definitely, yeah, getting those ready for a discussion, I think that would be great. And maybe we can even include that in our board request tonight, just kind of an idea, or next meeting as well, just so that we can kind of have Mrs. Valencia get that kind of organized for us before we have it on an agenda. Thank you for that. No other questions? Let's see. Well, like Ms. Buenos, like Vice President Bueno said, we do have the Google Doc available. That's, gets to show you what the timeline looks like that we're at right now, and then all of the like Word docs and notes stuff that go with that item in the timeline. So things to come are our measurables, of course, our interim goals, our interim guardrails, and our board monitoring calendar. Did I say that correctly? Which that's what I'm most excited about. So I'm looking forward to that, but those are the next steps in case anyone was wondering. Any other questions before we move on? No. Great. Thank you kindly. And with that, we'll move on to, once I scroll all the way back up. Item C2, we did get the necessary data back in for updating and revising our goal number 3. So item C2, we're going to receive, discuss, and take possible action on approving the new revised SOFG board goal number 3. Who will be presenting tonight?
Tonight, we have Dr. Gonzalez taking the podium to guide us through goal number 3. And we also have Mary Lou Gonzalez. We have the Gonzalez team tonight with an S and with a Z.
I love it. Welcome, everyone. Thank you.
Good evening, Board President Trujillo, members of the board, Superintendent Hagigat, members of the cabinet, and members of the audience. This evening, we have Mary Lou Gonzalez, who is our expert in English language learning and language acquisition. And so she's going to be talking with us about some of the possible supports that we can provide. But tonight, we really wanted to be able to showcase for you the data that we received from our Azella assessments. And so as you look at the next slide, you can see this is data that was shared with you earlier in a board update. These were our preliminary Azella proficiency numbers, and you can see this is broken down by school. This is representative of all of our students, not only our fully academic year students, which are the students who are present from the first day through the last. So all of our students who are considered English language learners based on the primary home language survey are represented here, and you can see what our overall proficiency levels look like. If you look at the next slide, you can see that our board adopted goal was that we were going to have an increase from 30% of our students meeting at least one level of proficiency, moving up one level in July of 2023 to 70% by July of 2027. So as we look at the next slide, you can see this is our data, and now you can see the difference between the number of fully academic year students, and remember, full academic year means students who are present the entire year, versus the number of students who are proficient in their English language learning. So this is broken down again by school, and you can see our overall proficiency levels show that 10.35% of our students are fully proficient compared to the state's average of 12.7%. As you look at the boxes that are coded with the green at the top, this is showing you the number of students within those cohorts that moved at least one level, moved 2 levels, or moved 3 levels. This also shows the overall percentage growth. And remember, as we're setting this growth goal or this goal, it really is about growth in language acquisition, moving one or more of the levels. So when you look at this, you'll see that the number shows 34%. That's the percent of the percentages shown here. But now let's take a look at the goal that we're proposing. In the goal, we're proposing 32% moving one or more levels, and from 2023 to 50% by July of 2028. You'll notice we changed the goal to a full 5-year goal, and we also changed the starting point to 32% because that's the actual percentage of all students tested as opposed to the percent of the percent that we saw on the other chart. The other thing you'll notice is that we set a more realistic endpoint for our July 2028 date of 50%. This will help us to have an annual increase of between 4 to 6% annually. So we'll build that chart for us to be able to see what that looks like as we go on. But this is our proposed goal, and I'm certain you have questions that you would like to discuss.
I actually don't have questions. I think that it makes sense to do a 4 to 6%. And my questions from a elected official position is really just, why are we still doing this? It has nothing to do with you, though. So I'm okay with the goal.
Good evening. President Trujillo, board members, and members of the community cabinet. I'll just speak that this was a new assessment for our students. So it was a new assessment for our teachers and EL interventionists, and the turnaround that we had to get our students prepared, because it wasn't released until October, the sample testing. So we really worked hard to get our students ready to the new format, because it is more rigorous, because it is more of interacting with all of the domains. So it's very important for us to get the students exposed to it. So I want to give thanks and appreciation to all the hard work that went into getting our students prepared. We knew that the cut scores were going to be higher. So we did grow from last year. I know we can't compare two different tests, but we did go from 7.5% to 10%. So we're heading in the right direction. And I just want to give that appreciation for your support, but also to all of our staff members that have worked very hard to ensure that our EL students get that protected time. So thank you.
Ms. Gonzalez,
Yes.
do you know what we can attribute to that growth?
So one of the things is we were very mindful of making sure that when we presented data to our EL interventionist, it was shared out at the schools as well, but also looking what were the assets that our students, we know that we want to take in what our students are coming in. So really getting to know what their abilities are and getting to know, is it in reading or is it in writing that we need to spend more time with particular students. So really taking an individual case by case for our students versus just looking them as a whole group. So really embracing the fact that every student has assets that we can build from.
Thank you. And what are we prepared to do this upcoming school year to continue that growth?
So one of the things that we have going on is last year we partnered with WestEd. We got a grant. And so we started with a few of our EL interventionists and our integrated teachers to start getting that professional development. We're expanding that. And we actually have a consultant that will be coming into one of our school campuses that has a high number of ELs, but we're still as the EL department. My partner, Sarah Edisadi, I will do a shout out for her because she is amazing. And she's also out in campuses assisting wherever needed and giving PD. So we know there's a focus for our newcomers as well. So that is a goal on our to get that going. We have a teacher now for a newcomer school. So it's very exciting for us. And we have a lot of layers of support and we keep adding. So we definitely are looking at how to collaborate with other departments to ensure that it's not just a one department thing, that we're expanding. And one of our big to-dos this year is really getting into our mainstream classrooms to see how they can integrate some of those conversation accountabilities.
Thank you. And I just want to put on your radar that we'll be looking for your support when we start our site councils in September. So please have your materials ready so we can also share at that meeting what parents can be doing at home to help empower their students.
Yeah, and that's one of the pieces a couple of years ago that Standalone, I believe, developed their manual for EL parent manual. So we started those steps. So they took a pause on it. So I'm excited to get back to those pieces.
Thank you.
I want to give a shout out to Mary Lou and Sara. This year, we actually changed our English language or our English course for our beginning teachers in K through 6, so that our new teachers coming to us this year got to see their English resources, but they were taught how to use the English resources from a framework of developing language for all students. And so our teachers learned strategies for helping our students through language acquisition and developing clear language objectives. When I shared this with our specials areas teachers, they were very excited about that and wanted to know how they too could learn this. And so that's another part of the work that we're going to be doing. We also were able to brag about the SCI course that Mary Lou and Kristen Kleider developed. That is the online course that we shared earlier with you. They're going to be able to take that. So Mary Lou's work is really in depth, and she has really created a broad base of understanding. And now we're being able to take that from EL classrooms to all classrooms across the district. So I'm very, very proud of the work that she's doing.
I do have a quick question. You mentioned that we anticipated knowing that we were going to do better this year. So from the sounds of it, it sounds like being mindful and intentional and getting our kids prepared and exposed was a humongous part of that. When my initial reaction was thinking it might be regarding the tool. So I was just wondering what your thoughts are on the difference in each test was, and if this is I don't know, I don't want to say any better or worse, but just what are the differences that I wouldn't know about since I'm not an educator?
So the old assessment was aligned to the old ELP standards from 2010. This new assessment, even though we were still using the 2019 ELP standards for the last 2 to 3 years, they didn't release a test that aligned to it until this past year. And it has the communication styles, which is receptive, productive, and interactive. The interactive piece is what brought up the rigor, because now they are being asked to not just intake information, but they have to turn around and present that information. So some of our students, and one of the pieces that we're going to look at is the domains, because we know listening and speaking was a little bit more rigorous. So knowing that area, some of our students might have missed proficiency because they didn't score intermediate or above in that area. How can we ensure that we prepare them for those skills? And there are skills that they're going to use in the real world. So it is asking them to do more than it was before, but it's now for us, our responsibility of how do we prepare our students for that.
Thank you for the extra insight. That's exactly what I didn't know I wanted or needed. Any other questions? All right, thank you both. All right, team, do we have a motion to approve our new and revised goal for board goal number 3?
Yes, I would like to motion to approve goal number 3 regarding our English learners. The percentage of English learners increasing proficiency levels by at least one category as measured by Zella will increase from 32% on July 2023 to 50% by July 2028.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Roger Carrillo, second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, may we please have a roll call vote, Mrs. Valencia?
Roll call for Ms. Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
Mr. Regional Carrillo,
Aye.
Ms. Erica de la Rosa,
Aye.
Dr. Alicia Vink,
Aye.
and Ms. Carmen Trujillo.
Aye.
Thank you.
With that, our motion passes. Thank you all very much. We've got a new updated word goal. So I'm glad that's another item checked off on our SOFG stuff. So go team. Thank you. With that, we will move on to item D1. This is the time for the public to comment. Members of the board may not discuss items that are not on the agenda. Do we have any community communications this evening?
We do not have any electronic or in-person community communications tonight.
Right. I meant to, ask that we probably get like a thing of pens and stuff just in case. So we've got copies of the agenda and stuff, and I forgot about that till right now. So I'll make that in my board request later, but all right, we don't have any in person or electronically. So we'll move on to item E1, the approval of our consent agenda. I do have one item I would like to pull before we, do we have any recommendations, I guess, from anybody else about the consent agenda?
Administration recommends that we approve